I think it was Picasso that said, inspiration finds you working. And I think
Mm.
it's true. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to draw. I don't even know. I don't know. But then if I just start doodling some little lines, the next lines just show up.
Welcome to Wildly Unplug, sharing stories of nature, conservation, and creativity. Discover what develops when you unplug and step outdoors. Peter, thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, glad to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I am like blown away by all your work. I need to know if you've always wanted to be an illustrator or if there was a different path that you had imagined for yourself.
No, I don't think I ever planned on being an illustrator or artist of any kind. I started drawing in this style in high school. And if you ever go to a high school career counselor, like someone who helps you figure out what you want to do with your life, what kind of job you want to have, I don't blame them, but none of them ever mentioned art. But I never took any art classes or anything. I never mentioned art to them either as something I was interested in. I never thought of it as an option. It was just kind of something I did to occupy my brain in English class or something. And I was going to a high school that was like a specialty school for computers and stuff. But then it wasn't out until after several years of me doing art, maybe even after, I had actually been living off my own art that I actually had for some reason, it took some courage to actually call myself an artist. Oh, it's a weird thing.
I totally understand that thing that it takes a while before you're like, oh yeah, I am an artist. So you didn't have a creative life growing up then.
I think my parents were pretty good at giving me creative options when I was a little kid. I have a lot of my mom, I gotta think my mom, she was good at saving my drawings when I was a little kid. I have a bunch of drawings from when I was like 6 and 7 years old. I was just drawing stuff like castles, weird trucks and cars and spaceships, people with. I did get a talking to from my dad once because I was drawing too many people with spears through their heads and stuff like that. He stated that's too violent. But then I think my creativity, I kind of stopped doing that kind of stuff when I discovered video games, eventually, maybe around middle school. And then I think it was in high school when I kind of rediscovered it. But my parents were always, I don't think, I don't think my parents have a huge creative side, but they were always good at cultivating that or letting me do that if I seemed interested at all. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about going back and looking at some of your old artwork and redesigning it in your style today?
I have done that a couple times. I have a video or two where I was like looking at a 6-year-old drawing, redrawing it. And my mom actually, my old room in my parents' house, which they've totally redesigned. It doesn't even look like my old room now. It has those two drawings, an old Peter drawing and a new Peter drawing right next to each other.
That's neat.
I should do that some more though, because it is fun it feels like a different person, but the same person, which I guess makes sense. Drew those things.
You've evolved into another,
Yeah.
I guess, a different Pokemon,
Yeah.
as my
Yeah, but
son would say.
that little Squirtle or whatever is still in there deep inside me for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of the same interests and desires, and I still really like castles and machines and stuff and art. And I feel since this is a nature podcast, I think I have over time grown a better appreciation for nature. I loved running around in nature when I was a little kid, but I think I didn't take the time to sit there and think, wow, this is beautiful and amazing, as much like I did with maybe a castle or a dump truck or something, you know?
Yeah. And so you said you were going to school for computers. Is that the career that you took for a little while and you were doing art on the side or?
It was I was I went to a IT technology magnet school for high school. I was like, yeah, let me take a bunch of computer classes. I love computers, but pretty much all I learned from that is that I like messing around with computers for fun. I probably don't want to do it for a job. And then I went to, right out of high school, I went to college and I was doing electrical engineering or something. But I got really depressed and dropped out after a year and a half or 2 years. And I started working and living at a summer camp. And basically, at that summer camp is probably where I started getting into making YouTube videos and art. just drawing as a hobby. And then when I left that job, I had to move and get a new job. And that's when I thought, wait a second, I'm actually making some money off this art thing. Let me try doing it full time. Worst case scenario, if it's not working out after a month or two, I'll get a new job like I was planning on doing anyways. But then I never got another job. And
That's
it's
fantastic.
been like 15 years.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like that was a scary transition for you then, because you already had a plan to get another job and you had the wiggle room to give it a test go.
And I was planning on getting a pretty I was planning on like I didn't know what to do. I was like, I guess I'm gonna go work at Target or something. So almost anything seemed better than that. I'm like, let me try to figure out how to make this work. And that was when I think one of the things that really boosted my confidence at being able to work is that's when I made my first adult coloring book. You know how there was like a trend that was like really popular for a couple of
Mm.
years, and I just stumbled upon that because like I'd seen a couple comments, people like, "Ooh, you should make a coloring book." I'm like, "Why not make a coloring book?" And I didn't realize it was going to be so popular, so that really helped me in the beginning. Yeah,
I saw that on Amazon. Is that self-published or did you go through a publisher?
the first one I self-published, and then since it did so well, a publisher I put out another one with a publisher. So the one on Amazon is through a publisher.
Oh,
That's the only
nice.
book I've self-published a lot of books, but that's the only one I've actually had a publisher for. Yeah.
Wow. I have questions about that a little bit later on. I'm still like
Sure,
diving
sure.
into the beginnings of you becoming an artist. You said there was a moment where you finally called yourself an artist. What was that moment there where it finally clicked like, oh, I guess I am an artist?
I don't remember exactly when it was, but I think it was partly out of frustration because people kept asking me, "What have you been doing? What do you do?" I was just tired of trying to explain what I did because, oh, I draw pictures, I make YouTube videos. And after a while of just these long-winded explanations of what I was doing, I was like, I just wanted a quicker way to explain what I was doing. I'm like, yeah, I'm an artist. Yeah, I'm an artist. Okay, I make art. I'm an artist. It's simpler that way.
Yeah. So you didn't get traditional art training. So do you
Not
feel
till
like,
years later. Yeah,
yeah, okay. Do you feel like you started to gain traction in those spaces or more in the YouTube spaces? Because I always find it interesting when artists go either the traditional route or they get found through YouTube, and both are completely valid.
mostly YouTube. I don't really know much about the traditional route still, whatever that might be. You mean like galleries and stuff?
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
don't get it in what they decide to pick and whatever.
Pretty much now, years later, I've been in a few galleries, but most of those are just thing like little gallery shows associated like with the school I went to and stuff. So like I still don't know how that stuff works. It feels a little bit like it's like heavily involved with networking and it's who you
Yeah.
know and all the connections you've made. And half the time I get connected with some gallery, I feel like, oh no, is this a scam? Or I don't, I'm much more familiar with other aspects of art like YouTube. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe I could put my art in a gallery and that would give me some kind of weird clout. And maybe 5 or 10 people would go in there a day. The receptions are nice. I like the gallery
Mhm.
receptions when you have all your friends come in, there's some drinks, it's like a little party.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's power in the internet of thousands and thousands of people can see your art. Even if it's not in real life, that's the one downside. There's not as much physicality to it. But I like being able to touch art a lot of the time. That's why I like mu going to museums and stuff like that. It would be a dream to have my art like an actual real museum one day, but I don't know.
There was somebody I saw online and they took their art and they hung it up in the gallery, like an art museum. I forget who it was.
I think I've
I
seen
don't
that
know
a
that
couple times too. Yeah.
I don't have the cojones to do that. Do you?
Maybe I might.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But I just don't think it would matter as much to me if I did it as opposed to them asking me or choosing me. That's what I really want.
yeah. And either way, you get to say it's in a gallery.
Yeah, and it would be fun to do to just go in there and hang it up while no one's looking and be like, "Hey, look." I definitely see the appeal of that, but I still want
Yeah,
the other thing also.
that's fair. Now, when you start a piece, from start to finish, even before you like put your pen to the page, like just coming up with the concept, how long does that whole process take you?
Just the starting, like the ideation, is that what you're asking about? Or the
Yeah,
whole
from
drawing?
idea to finished piece.
Oh, sometimes I start with almost no idea at all, and a finished piece. I finish most pieces in one day, one sitting. At most 2 days, two sittings. Like I did a piece yesterday where I was really locked in, and it took 6 or 7 hours. That's on the longer side for me. A lot of them take 2 or 3 or 4 hours. The I If I have an idea before I start, it's mostly just it's a very ephemeral daydreaming, something bouncing around in my head. Like here's a piece. I finished this one yesterday, and there you can see there's tons in there.
Wow,
And
that is cool.
the only idea I had before I started this one, you see there's tons of weird little labels and stuff in here, right? The only idea I had before I started this one was two of the labels. I had these two little words bouncing around in my head, and I was like, I got to put these on paper somewhere. And then I just kind of built the
Mm.
rest of it around it. And I was listening to some weird audio books that kind of were like those put the audiobook put more words and ideas in my head. And most of it is just make it as I go, and it shifts and changes as I'm making it. If I try to plan out a whole thing before I start, it's a lot more frustrating and stressful and not fun for me. Yeah,
Mm.
most of the time.
Do you ever have any happy accidents like your pen explodes all over your page? Or my favorite is my husky likes to find my watercolor paper and chew it up. And then my piece is ruined. But I imagine sometimes you could save it or whatever. Do you have anything that's ever happened like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there are several drawings I could point out in my. I don't have them on hand, but where there's a splotch of ink from a pen that I've incorporated into a drawing. I'm very, I'm very I embrace mistakes. I almost don't even believe in mistakes. Since I haven't planned out the drawing, there's no wrong way it can go.
So you
Obviously,
don't sketch out your piece first. You go right in with ink. So you're fully committed.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That
I,
that takes
it's almost like nice if my hand slipped a little and drew a little line that I didn't mean to draw, because then I could have never gotten that otherwise. Otherwise,
yeah,
I'm just relying on my boring old brain doing the same lines over and over again. Sometimes it's nice to close your eyes and do something like that you couldn't plan out. I don't know. I think it's good.
that's brave.
I think
Yeah,
it's all kind of it's like it's a kind of improvising, yeah.
yeah. Now, you mainly work in ink. I've seen a couple of your pieces that have color in it too. What did you use for that, or what's your favorite medium to work in?
Historically for me, it's pen and ink. That was my first love. I think it was because it was simple. It's you can take it anywhere, you can do it anywhere. You just need a piece of paper and a pen, and there's no excuses. You can have it anywhere. And that's what I started with in school when I was doodling. But I have over the past more recent years, I have started adding color. And you could probably find videos of me where I'm acknowledging people suggesting that I try color or even try pencil, and me saying, I can't do that, or it's too different, or too scary, or too weird, or I just haven't ever tried it. And then eventually, I don't know, something clicks in my brain and I'm ready. And then I start using pencil or colored pencil or acrylic paint or oil paint or any of these other mediums. I just eventually try, and then I love them so much. So just one by one over the years, I try a new medium, and it's always amazing. I think probably 90% of my art is pen and ink, just because that's what I've been doing for the longest. But there are always some other little things, some other little options out there. Probably one I still haven't really gotten around to trying is gouache. It's like I don't want to do it right now. It doesn't sound fun, but I'm sure, judging on the based on my past experiences, one day there's going to be a moment where I'm like, oh, I want to try gouache, and then I'm going to try it and I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you were drawing yesterday for about 6 to 8 hours. Is that and that's long. What does a typical day as an artist look like for you?
I mean, it varies a little bit. I am more of a, I work better at night, so I stay up late. I feel like my brain, it starts a little slow in the morning and then it slowly, gradually picks up speed throughout the day. And so at the end of the day is when my brain is spinning and working the fastest and hardest. And I'm like, which is unfortunate because then I end up staying up late and then sleeping in late. And then at some points in my life, it was a bad cycle where I was just, it was like continually shifting later and later in the day. And then I would be like staying up all night, sleeping all day. I'm doing better now, partly because I have, it depends on how much of a social life you have, because you don't want to sleep all day and stay up all night if no one else you know is doing that. But yeah, I wake up, have have some probably a little bit of food, some beverage with caffeine in it, check the internet for emails, posts, whatever. And I usually don't actually start making any art until after lunch. And then, but it would be nice after lunch if I can sit down at 1 o'clock or something. I could probably usually sit down for several hours and just draw. That's a good day right there. If I can draw till 7 o'clock at dinner time or something, that'd be great.
Yeah. Now, how much of your time do you think you spend doing the social media stuff and editing videos? Is there a lot of editing that you do, or do you do mostly lives?
Yeah. When I said I draw for 7 hours, if I draw for 7 hours, probably the next day I'm editing for 7 hours. That part I don't like
Mm,
as much. There have been times when there was a time when I was like paying some high school kid in Canada to edit some videos for me, just the rough parts. I feel like the videos are also part of my art, so I don't want to give up too much control of that. Even just the pacing of them, the feel of them, something about that I feel very sensitive about. It would free up, it does feel like a chore sometimes. I will admit the video editing is probably my least favorite part of it, but I am also still very possessive of it. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot, and social media, it's sometimes I don't know. I'm probably not the only artist that struggles with this, but am I a YouTuber who makes art or am I an artist who makes YouTube videos? I don't know, a little identity crisis. Who knows? But I think you got to be both if you're trying to make money off your art, or I don't know, maybe other people have figured out better ways. Definitely spend a lot of time at the computer though.
yeah, I'll have days where I'm editing and I'm like, I just want to be painting right now and not editing videos. And I have the same problem as you too, where I have been told about people who can edit my videos, and I'm like, no, I like inserting my little jokes and my little edits and stuff. I don't want to, it still feels like a part of me, and I don't want just anybody to do it.
Yeah, like
So,
if I have 7 hours of like I was editing before I hopped on this call, for example, and I have 7 hours of myself drawing yesterday. And what I do is I go through it and I want it to be smooth when I speed it up. And there's all these moments where I'm taking my hand away from the paper and putting it back, but I don't want it to be like choppy when it's sped up. So I cut out all the moments when I take my hand away from the paper.
mm,
I think one good use of AI would be, I feel like AI could probably do that part, cutting out all the parts where my hand goes away from the paper, because that's just busy work. That's just mechanical. And I have tried to get, I don't know if AI can do that yet, but that's the type of thing I was like asking the high schooler in Canada to do. But then I would have to check his work anyways, and it wasn't completely doing it right. So I was like, I'm just going to do it myself.
sometimes it's just easier to do it yourself.
I don't know. That's why I was like, I'm just gonna do it myself. And sometimes I get locked in the zone and I can just blast through it. And
Yeah.
I like whining about it, but I've been doing it for years now. It's all right.
Now, is there something that you wish people knew about being an artist and a YouTuber that people don't really see or understand?
It's a good question. The problem is I don't know what exactly they think. I have a hard time knowing what exactly their perspective is. Maybe I should know better just based on their comments, but maybe I'm not very good at looking from the outside in. So I don't really know what they don't know or what I wish they should know. What do you think? What do you think people
I
are missing?
As far as being an artist, I've had people be like, "Oh, you're really good at doing animals. Just paint a person." And I'm like, a person is totally different than an animal. If I'm just drawing a wild bird, it can look like whatever, and it doesn't matter what marks or tweaks happen to it, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. But if I'm doing somebody's face,
That's
if
true.
you make the nose a little bit bigger or the eyes are a little too close to whatever, it changes everything. And then as far as YouTube, I didn't understand until I started filming and editing my own painting videos just how much time that took.
So
And
much. Yeah.
so much time. And I don't think people know or appreciate that. Even if it's some of my first ones, I'm still learning and getting there. It still took a long time.
Yeah. And it changes the whole art making process to record it at the same time. Because you're always
Yes.
thinking about the camera and the angles and how you're going to edit it later. And maybe should I get another angle of some of it to mix it up, or should I just do all one angle, or is my hand blocking it, or how's the lighting? If you're not recording anything, you can just really lose yourself in it a little more. But I don't know, yeah, it's a different experience. Yeah. I totally agree with the drawing part though, because I've been doing a project where I've been selling some custom copies of my new book. And what I do is I have people can request a little doodle in the front. And most of my drawings are very abstract. They don't really look like a particular thing, but some people they request like their pet or a cat. A lot of cat requests. I'm like, I'm trusting that you're a big enough fan that you know I don't draw a lot of cats, and you'll be okay if this cat comes out looking crazy. Because yeah, like, yeah. I don't usually draw cats, so it's gonna look weird.
Yeah. Just because you're an artist doesn't mean you can do everything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a special project you're doing. So inside the book, you're making a doodle.
Like in the front page, I
Wow.
do a little doodle and autograph it, and then I hide another little doodle somewhere inside on a random page.
A little Easter egg.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Can they find that on your website?
yeah. Well, I'm not selling the custom ones anymore, but you can still get regular ones,
Gotcha.
unautographed ones, because I offered the custom ones and I sold way more than I expected, and it turned out to be like I offered them in like for sale first in November, December, and now it's what month is it? Almost May. I still
Yeah.
haven't finished them all.
Wow. That's a good problem to have, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Just more than I expected is all, and I'm ready to be done with it now. So I just gotta
I believe
finish
it.
off the last few ones.
Mm,
And I feel bad that everyone, some people are waiting so long, but at the same time, I'm continually impressed and amazed at how patient some of these people are, or almost everyone is. Yeah. Because
that's good.
sometimes I post an update saying, "Hey, sorry that some people are still waiting on your book that you ordered, and I'm working on it." And then the people comment, "I'm just excited to get it whenever you're done with it, Peter."
Oh,
So people are
that's
really
sweet.
nice about it, and it's encouraging.
That was something I wanted to ask too, because you've got a pretty big presence online. What do you do about people that are being mean?
99% of the people that I interact with on my videos at least are really nice. It used to be, I feel like maybe 5 or 10 years ago, that if there was someone that bothered me or annoyed me a little bit in the comments or left a little comment that got under my skin, that I would get in the comments and leave them a comment back and fight with them a little bit. But nowadays, I'm just like, it's not worth it. I ignore. I'm getting good at ignoring those comments.
Yeah, that's good. I just imagine them as, did you see the new Superman movie last year?
Yeah, the one with the little dog.
Yeah, there's a
Mm.
scene where there's the monkeys making the comments online. So I just picture them
Oh,
as the monkeys in my brain if I
oh,
see
that's
a mean
perfect.
comment.
Yeah. Just another
Yeah,
monkey.
it's right. They're just trolling for comments. I wanted to ask about your style too. Did you have a specific influence? Because there are some things where I was looking on your page, and some of it almost reminds me of the scary stories you tell in the dark, which had an absolute chokehold on kids growing up in the 80s and 90s. And was that an influence at all, or how did you come up with your
I
style?
mean, I've never actually read those scary stories to tell in the dark. I feel like at a base level, my doodling started from watching my mom doodle tiny little simple shapes while she was talking on the phone or something. She just had a little piece of paper and she would just draw a cube and some little triangles, just the way she would build some very basic little shapes and add on to each other. And then, but then as far as other artists go that I was inspired by, as a kid, I was always my mom, I was homeschooled for first and second grade, and my mom would take us to the public library, and I would check out books like Where's Waldo?
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say that too.
yeah. And there were these books called I Spy, which had just tons of tiny little, those weren't drawings, those were photographs, but there were just tons of
Right.
tiny little details. And there were these other books called Incredible Cross Sections, that were illustrated by someone named Stephen Beastie, I think, something like that. But they were just these incredibly detailed cross sections of different things, like container ships or opera houses or rockets or like galleons or something. And I would just stare at these for hours, and they had little diagrams and stuff like that. So I think being exposed at a young age to these very detailed types of art made me want to add lots of little details to my art. But for some reason, I didn't really care about the content. I think when I was looking at a lot of these books, I wasn't like when I was looking at Where's Waldo, I didn't really care about finding Waldo. I just like looking at all the drawings, which I think was partly intended. But I was like, I just like the feeling of all the of getting lost in it. So I think that's kind of what I like creating is some detailed, weird drawing where everywhere you look, there's something a little bit different.
Do you ever hide the same thing in every single one of your drawings?
Not intentionally, but it probably does happen just because it's the same person drawing the same drawing. There's probably little things you can find that give away that it's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not hiding a little Waldo in them, if that's what you're asking.
No, there was somebody I used to work at an aquarium and they had a bunch of murals and he hid a 33 in every single one and it was always
Mm.
fun to go through and find them. And then I've started painting a little three-leaf clover in every single one of mine. And I've
Oh,
seen
that's
people do
cute.
little footprints and stuff. So just a fun little Easter egg for your fans. But you've got so many things for people to look at.
Yeah, no, that is a fun idea though. I'll daydream about that. I should start doing that maybe. At first, I don't even sign my drawings. Like when people start, sometimes people buy the original. I'm like, wait a second. Usually people like a signed drawing. So I either add the signature then or sign it on the back or something. I feel like in my head, the whole drawing is the signature. I don't know what the
Mhm.
point of it is of signing the drawing. If someone should be able to tell it's yours. I don't know. Just by looking
Yeah,
at it, maybe.
agreed.
I don't know. Someone can copy your signature anyways.
That's true. Now, what did I want to ask? How do you know when a piece is done, or do you have pieces that you go back to every once in a while and you keep working on them?
No, I might go back to a piece the next day after sleeping on it, but not after that. If it's if I stop drawing, I'm ready to move on to the next piece. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm more excited about. Because yeah, if I've stopped, I'm pretty like almost all the time I'm pretty set that it's finished. I think it's something inside of me is just like I don't want to work on that anymore. I'm really happy with just looking at it, and I'm more excited about starting another one. And I'm really excited about posting it online. I like posting drawings online, half to see comments, half just because I think like posting it catalogs it. It's like a little art journal or something. And once I've posted it, I really can't change it because then reality doesn't reflect the what's online. Cute cat, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Monroe wanted to be part of the show.
Absolutely. The third guest, I
Uh,
love it.
when you are choosing what you want to put in your books, how do you go about? The cat threw me off. I had a better question than that. Let's find out that answer first, and I'll ask you my other one.
What was it? How do I choose what to put in my books? Like this big one here, it was just a ton. It was a lot. It was like there's 500 drawings in that book. So it was like
Wow.
Most of my recent stuff and a few old things for contrast and context. And obviously, this one is only like black and white, so I didn't put any color stuff in there and no paintings because I haven't figured out a way to take good photos or scans of those yet. So a lot of it is just what I have and can conveniently put in there, stuff I want to share. Obviously, I won't put anything in there that I'm not proud of, but I like most of my drawings. I don't know. I
How
like including as much stuff as possible to create like a big picture, like a yeah, a thorough image of me as an artist or my art. Yeah.
how many drawings would you say you've done over the course of your artist career?
I don't know, several thousand, I guess. Yeah. Just on Instagram, I have 3,000 posts, and most of lately, there not as many of them are drawings, but I say at least 2,000 of them are drawings. And on top of that, I've probably done it 1,000 more.
Wow. How do you organize all that? Like I keep running out of storage. It's the most frustrating, and I've got to,
You do
you know,
paintings or drawings or what? Like,
I
what's
do
the
watercolor draw paintings.
piece? You have trouble storing pieces of paper or
Oh, and like for filming and everything like that. And I'm also a photographer and I use a lot of that as reference. So storage is, I don't have nearly as many drawings and paintings as you do. So how do you organize it all and keep track of it all?
bookshelves? Yeah, I think.
There we go.
Yeah. And here's a this is just a big box of sketchbooks.
Wow.
There's like 20 sketchbooks in there. Yeah, there's probably a
And
thousand drawings right there in that box.
I believe it. So you finish your sketchbook. I have this weird fear about finishing a sketchbook. I don't know why.
I've
I guess that,
probably only completely drawn in every page of three sketchbooks. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that makes me feel better.
It back 10 years ago, I was like, that was more of a goal of mine. I finished one sketchbook and I was like, this feels amazing. Let's do another one. Because I really liked the goal of having a sketchbook flip through video after I'd finished a sketchbook and stuff like that. But now I'm more focused on the drawing I'm doing today, not
Mhm.
the next 40 drawings I'm doing or something to finish a sketchbook. I don't know.
So before my cat distracted me, my genius question was going to be, it sounds like from talking to you that you are pretty intuitive and you listen to your gut as far as pursuing your career and what you're going to draw and everything like that. How do you trust that inner voice?
Almost all of my, I've noticed it even as I'm in a relationship now, and as try to give April advice if we're like talking about stuff, I notice how often I suggest that she follows her gut, just like you were saying. I think I do that a lot in my life. I don't know. I really do follow my gut. I find if I start thinking about things too much, if I overthink them, which is a problem that I have sometimes, that I just get more and more miserable. I get more stressed. But if I stop and I just listen to how I feel on the inside, which I call my gut, I don't know, my gut, my soul, my heart, I don't know, my brain, if I if I just listen to my first inclination, then I feel like I can get a lot further, a lot quicker with a lot less stress. I don't know. I call that listening to my gut. And I do that in art and in life.
That's good advice. Now, how do you or do you get artistic block? What do you do when you get creatively stuck, or do you feel like just creating helps you to get out of that rut?
Yeah, I think sometimes for artist block, sometimes I just wait a few days. I don't ever draw or make art if I don't feel like it. I don't ever want it to be like a chore, something I'm making myself do. I want it to stay fun and yeah, something that just comes out of me, not something I'm wringing out of myself, right? But I've also found which is the flip side of this coin and kind of contradicts what I'm saying, that if I just start, then it just works. I think I think it was Picasso that said inspiration finds you working. And I think
Mm.
it's true. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to draw. I don't even know. I don't know. And but then if I just start doodling some little lines, the next lines just show up, even they just fit in with what I was doing. Some other ways that I've gotten excited about making art when I wasn't before, switching mediums, switching locations, switching sizes. I think just there's a lot of benefits in switching things up because sometimes you can get stuck in a rut, which I think is a lot of artist block sometimes is being in a rut. And even if you're maybe like me, you're not a huge pen and ink person, that's all you really know or all you're really comfortable with, that's okay. You can keep doing that. But what if you just did some acrylic paints for one day, just went and got some cheap ones? It might just expand your brain a little bit. And then the next day, you can go back to your pen and ink and you might feel a little more revitalized. Just a
That's good
suggestion.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do acrylic paint and then I did watercolor for a long time. And then I went to one of those paint and sip things. And I noticed I was treating the acrylic almost like watercolor and I was adding more water to it. And the way that the sunset blended in the acrylic, I was super happy with. And I'm like, oh, maybe I need to go back in and try that medium again because you learn and evolve as you become an artist.
Yeah, I think you definitely do learn stuff from different mediums to take back to other mediums. I agree.
What's the largest piece that you've done?
One time in Wilmington, I had some friends at the museum there, and I did a big communal doodle on a giant 40-foot banner they had on a wall at an event there. And here in Greensboro, I drew all over the floors and walls and stalls of the bathrooms of a brewery, men and women's, before it opened, thankfully, unused bathrooms.
They
Uh,
commissioned you for it. You weren't just graffitiing everywhere.
I snuck in at night. Yeah. No, yeah, they commissioned me for it. I mean, I don't even know exactly the square footage of that, but I liked that one because it was like you walked in and my doodles, you were like in my doodles, in my drawings. It was on the floor, the walls, and then they coated it all in boat deck sealant or something so that they could come in. They would be able to mop the floors and stuff afterwards every day. But I felt a little bad for drunk people and stuff that might walk in there later and feel all dizzy with my swirly lines all around them. But
You're going to get a big line in the bathroom. Everybody's looking at everything going on in there. I'm sure
yeah,
they can go multiple times and always find something new too.
yeah.
That is neat. Is that been your favorite commission that you've done?
Maybe. Yeah, I would love to do more stuff like that. Just and I liked that one because there was almost no direction. They're like, hey, yeah, do whatever you want, draw whatever you want. Maybe our logo at some point on the wall. And then they're like, apart from that, have fun. I like that kind of stuff as opposed to draw my cat.
True.
I love people that have their cats drawn. I just might not be the person to do it, okay?
That's fair there.
And someone had me spray paint all over their car. That was cool. Just
What
I
kind
bet
of car?
it was like an old Subaru. Yeah.
Would you have approached it differently if it was like somebody's Bentley or something like that?
No,
That's neat. Did you have to steal the car?
no, I think they just wanted it to, it was like a car, it was like for their business. It was like a carpet business and they just wanted to draw eyes. Ooh, what's that? Oh, it's just kind of catch eyes around town. But
Neat.
I did it all in one day and they paid me $800 and I bet it's all chipped off by now, honestly. They probably should have paid me to seal it too.
Now, going back to your YouTube a little bit, have you thought about renaming your channel Peter Does Dishes?
I just recorded myself doing dishes again last night. I was about to upload another dishes video.
It's what's the inspiration behind that?
I'm so addicted to recording myself doing things. That's how I've recorded myself cleaning the house with a GoPro on my head, straightening up my desk. I haven't posted most things I've recorded myself doing, honestly. But it
It's
motivates me to do chores if I record myself doing the chores. That's what's going
interesting.
on. Yeah.
Do you ever do that as a live or you record it and then upload it?
I'll record it and then upload it. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And do people enjoy that?
I don't know. I really don't.
What?
The comments seem very neutral. Half the comments are like, "Oh yeah, I also do dishes."
That's great. Yeah, I was wondering if it's getting the same amount of comments and likes and shares and stuff as your other stuff.
It really doesn't matter. I like the feeling of doing it. So just recording it and then putting it online and it's there. Some of them are just on, I have this section on my website just called videos where I'm going to start putting them all. It's just, there's something I like about just cataloging and documenting things like that. I can't really explain it, but it feels good to me.
No, gotta do what you gotta do. And I've also heard that just the more you post, the better.
Mm.
Well, I
No,
guess it depends on which social media platform, but
true. No, I was just yeah, on Instagram, it's probably true. You should just post a buttload. Sometimes I mean, I go through phases, but yeah, Instagram, there's almost no downside to just posting tons. I was like, there's this one channel I saw that they're one of the top channels. It's this couple that dances a bunch and they post 12 times a day. So it's crazy.
wow, man.
Yeah, and they have like
So,
12 million followers or something.
oh my gosh, trying to think what else.
You got to ask me about nature. Where's the nature
I
part
kn
of this podcast?
okay, yeah, I do gotta ask about nature. It's art and nature, so I guess it counts. What do you have a favorite place that you like to go out in nature?
These days, I've I didn't used to go out in my backyard very much, but now that April has been coming over more, she's been getting me out in the backyard more. We just go out there and lie on a blanket, or we actually had Christmas morning out on a blanket in the backyard, which is amazing. And
Nice.
there's a nice park, a couple of nice parks near my house where I just go and I like them because they're nearby, but also someone, I don't know if there's a community group or if a specific person that takes care of these parks and they plant very specific rare or niche plants there too. Nice flowers, rare trees. There's a little creek going through it. So there's just a really nice variety of things to look at and experience and nice little animals, birds, rabbits, and squirrels mostly, which I really enjoy. And I think that enough people walk through there that the rabbits have become not that afraid. Usually when I
Hmm.
see rabbits, they dart off, but some of the rabbits down in the little park I like walking to just kind of hang out 5 feet away from me and eat grass next to me,
Aw.
which I really enjoy.
Do you find that your artwork changes after you've been in nature for a little bit?
I feel like I change more. It calms me down a little bit, centers me. If I go walk through the park, spend a few minutes there, I feel like maybe I'm just better. It helps me focus on my art a little bit more. I feel a little bit less restless and ADHD or something. I think it makes me feel like a more whole human or something if I spend more
Hmm.
time in nature. Because if I could very easily just spend weeks just sitting here in front of my computer, but if I just take a moment to think, oh, I should go walk outside, then my life does get better.
Yeah. Do you have any more projects coming up on the horizon you want to tell the listeners about?
I want to make a children's book after I finish signing all these for all of you. If any of you are in here listening and you haven't got your book yet, I'll get it out to you soon. And then I want to make a little book with a story illustrated because I made a few little illustrated books before, but the stories were a little bit as abstract as my drawings. That's how abstract the stories were. The coolest thing happening lately is I'm on this cool podcast with Lauren Connolly. That's pretty sweet. Mm.
Oh,
No, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to do my thing, have fun with it, connect with people, and yeah, I don't know, nothing popping into my head. Maybe there is some big thing I can't think of right now, but can't be that big.
I'm sure your gut will tell you something soon, and
Yeah,
we'll have
exactly.
to follow and see what you're up to next. Where can people find you?
I think if you just search Peter Draws They should all come up. I'm Peter Draws on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, peterdraws.com. That's my website. I,
Perfect.
I chose Peter Draws as my name on Instagram because that website was available. Because at first I was like, Peter Doodles? No, that website's not available. Stuff like that. So it was years ago.
Man, it's a good thing you grabbed it. Now,
Yeah.
before we go, what is one tip that you have for somebody that would like to connect with nature or reconnect with nature?
I think you should find whatever little bit of nature is available to you, whether it's a big chunk of nature or a tiny chunk of nature, even if it's like a little tree on the corner or a little potted plant in your house. And I think you should touch it. I think nature's good to touch. They say touch grass, it's a meme, but I think it really works. Because
Yeah,
maybe it's just because I'm a physical person. I like touching things, but it makes a big difference to me. And April tells me that plants like being touched also. So maybe
good.
it'll help nature connect with humans as well.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much, Peter.
All right, thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And until next time, get outside and see what develops. Wildly Unplugged podcast is a production of Wild Development Studio. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio's productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in such activities or venturing into wilderness areas. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.